the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, and also fellow Nigerian Association of Hydrogeologists. Professor Michael Adewole Gbadebo. In our midst is a university librarian of the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Abeokuta. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a standing applause to Dr. Adewole. Can we all put our hands together for her, please? You're welcome. Also in our midst is the chairman of the Corporate Social Responsibility of our university, Professor Biodun Badmus. Can we all put our hands together for him? We've been seeing his great works around the university community, even beyond it. Can we all put our hands together for this great man once again? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it, sir. As stated earlier, we are holding the 112th inaugural lecture of our university, and the lecture is titled Rock and Solid Fingerprints on Water, My Groundwater Odyssey. And the lecture is to be delivered by no other person than a fellow of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, and also fellow Nigerian Association of Hydrogeologists, Professor Michael Adewole Gbadebo.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
And the lecture is titled, Rock and Soil Fingerprints on Water, My Groundwater Odyssey. At this juncture, it is my honor to respectfully invite our Vice Chancellor and the Chairman of this inaugural lecture, Professor Olushola Babatunde Gende, to please give the Vice Chancellor's address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Please be seated. Thank you. May I ask that Professor Michael Adewole Gbadebo stand beside me here and remain standing. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development, the Registrar of the University, the Bossa, be represented here, the University Librarian, the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo, the Dean, College of Environmental Resources Management, Deans of other colleges, the Postgraduate School and Students Affairs, Directors of institutes, centers and service units, Head, Department of Geology, other heads of departments and units, distinguished members of the University Senate, distinguished academics and professional colleagues in FINAB and other institutions, all distinguished non-teaching staff, special guests and friends of the university, members of the immediate and extended families of the inaugural lecturer, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course, great FUNABites. Great FUNABites. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 112th edition in the series of inaugural lectures of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. The lecture is the first to be delivered from the Department of Geology. And the 15th from the College of Environmental Resources Management. Our inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo, was born on August 14, 1959, into Fakuro family of Odo Compound, Okeigbo in Ondo State, Nigeria. He began his foundational education at Modakeke High School, Modakeke, Osun State. He later proceeded to build a solid academic background in geology at the University of Port Harcourt, where he bagged bachelor's degree in geology and master's degree in applied geology at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and thereafter a PhD in geology, specializing in geochemistry at the University of Ibadan. He later obtained a postgraduate diploma in groundwater exploration, exploitation, and conservation at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel. His core research interests includes groundwater geochemistry, medical geology, and so on and so forth. His work experience. Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo began his academic career in 1999 as lecturer 2 at the then University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and rose through the ranks to the position of Professor of Environmental Geochemistry on October 1st, 2014. Professor A.N. Gbadebo has taught geology and environmental courses in several Nigerian universities, such as Ladoke Akintola University, Ogbomoso, Crawford University, Igbesa, Christian University, Abeokuta, and so on and so forth, both as associate and on sabbatical leave. He has supervised and graduated 21 PhD students, 11 as major and 10 as co-supervisor, and 3 ongoing PhD students, 40 MSc students, both academic and professionals, and over 200 student research works at the undergraduate level in varied areas of environmental geosciences, hydrogeochemistry, and related areas, with over 100 research publications in both national and international outlets. Professor Gbadebo served as an external examiner for national and international institutions, including the University of Lagos, UNILAG, Crawford University, Ekiti State University, and the University of Benin at undergraduate level. At the postgraduate level, he has examined students of Ahmadu Bello University, Michael Okpara University of Agriculture in Umudike, University of Lagos, University of Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Our inaugural lecturer of today is an accomplished environmental geochemist and academic with over 3 decades of teaching, research, and community service in the field of geosciences. He has contributed significantly to environmental research, groundwater studies, and the training of students in geology and environmental management. At the international level, Professor Gbadebo has served and is still serving as grant applications reviewer for Newton and GCRF funds from 2018 till date, panel member for UKRI for Future Leaders Fellowship, also from 2018 till date, external through foreign supervision to a PhD student in the Department of Geology at the University of Johannesburg, South Africa, and then external assessor for academic staff promotion to the position of reader at the University of Malawi, which was done in 2022. At the university level, and also for his community services, Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo has provided service within the university and the wider community. His contributions include member, University Committee on Mineral and Land Resources Reuse, member, University Implementation Committee on Water Resources, Pioneer Secretary, Okeigbo Economic Development Initiative, and a member of the Bible Society of Nigeria, as well as a patron, Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC, Aregbe Division, Abeokuta. You can use that in the future. Professor Gbadebo has contributed to human development through more than 27 years of teaching and research experience at the university level, helping to train and develop future scientists and professionals, supporting human development through his research on groundwater quality, environmental pollution, and environmental management, which helps to improve public health and environmental sustainability. He has improved community welfare by conducting geophysical surveys and drilling over 200 boreholes, thereby increasing access to clean water in many communities, with participation in national and international conferences, professional organizations, and community development initiatives that promote knowledge sharing and sustainable resource management. Professor Gbadebo is also a member of several professional bodies, some of which are Fellow Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, Fellow Nigerian Association of Hydrogeologists, Pioneer Chair, International Medical Geology Association, Nigeria chapter, as well as a registered member of the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. In the course of his research and academic endeavors, Professor Gbadebo received several awards and travel grants or honors, which include Federal Government of Nigeria Postgraduate Scholarship from 1990 to 1991, awarded for academic excellence in postgraduate studies, sponsorship from UNESCO to attend the International Geological Congress in Florence, Italy, for his contribution to geological research, as well as the Society for Environmental Geochemistry and Health sponsored grants to attend a conference on environmental geochemistry and public health in Manchester, United Kingdom in the year 2019. For Professor Gbadebo, it's not all about academics. He has a family life. Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo is happily married to Mrs. Adeola Agbeke Gbadebo. And they are blessed with a daughter, Oluwajumilo Oluwadara Gbadebo. He's deeply committed to Christian service and community development, reflecting his values of leadership, humility, and service to humanity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to invite Professor Adewole Gbadebo, the 112th inaugural lecturer from the Department of Geology, College of Environmental Resources Management, to present his lecture titled Rock and Soil Fingerprints, My Groundwater Odyssey. God bless you all as you listen. Thank you very much.
The Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, the Registrar, the Bursar, the University Librarian, the Dean, College of Environmental Resources Management, other deans and directors, the head, Department of Geology, other heads of department and units, members of the University Senate, all academic and non-teaching staff, all special guests and friends of the university, members of my immediate and extended family and friends, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Unabite. It is with great joy and utmost gratitude to God Almighty that I stand before this audience this day to deliver the 112th inaugural lecture of this great university. I give God all the glory, majesty, and adoration for this wonderful privilege. May his name be praised forever. I thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Obi Kende, for this great citadel of training, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, for the special privilege given to me to deliver my inaugural lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this inaugural lecture represents more than an academic milestone. It is the expression of lifelong fascination with the earth and its hidden processes. My journey as a geoscientist has been shaped by a deep commitment to understanding the stories preserved in rock, soil, and water, stories that reveal the Earth's ancient past, its subsurface archives, and the silent warning embedded within this natural system. From my academic formation at the University of Port Harcourt, through Obafemi Awolowo University and University of Ibadan, to advanced scholarly enrichment at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Israel, each stage has strengthened my quest to interpret the Earth's records and the critical role of groundwater as one of the humanity's most valuable natural resources. This lecture is the first in geology department, the 15th in Kolem, the 112th in Funab. This lecture, titled Rock and Soil Fingerprints on Water, My Groundwater Odyssey, is both a reflection and a call to action. Rocks, soil, and water form an inseparable thread within the Earth system, and their interaction define the hidden chemistry and the availability of groundwater upon which human life depends. The concept of rock and soil fingerprints on groundwater refers to the distinctive chemical and physical fingerprints that water acquires as meteoric water infiltrate through geological materials and interact with minerals in the subsurface. Rocks, as the primary archives of the Earth history, influence groundwater through their mineral composition, texture, porosity, and weathering behavior. Thus, igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks each impart specific fingerprints to the groundwater. Granite commonly contributes silica, potassium. Basalt enriches water with calcium and magnesium, while limestone increases hardness and alkalinity through carbonate dissolution. These lithological controls explain why groundwater quality differs across geological terrain and why geological understanding remains fundamental to the groundwater exploration and sustainable management. Box 2009. Soil, which represents the weather mantle overlying bedrock, perform an equally critical role by regulating how water infiltrates, stored, filtered, and contaminated before reaching the aquifers. As a dynamic interference between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere, soil determines not only recharge processes but also the mobility of nutrients, dissolved iron, and pollutant. Sandy soil encourages rapid infiltration and groundwater recharge, but often permit fast contaminant transport. Clay-rich soils, on the other hand, slow water movement and retain heavy metals through absorption, while loamy soil provide a more balanced filtration environment. Through its horizon and mineral composition, soil control pH, electrical conductivity, turbidity, and ionic concentration, thereby leaving behind measurable hydrochemical fingerprints that reveal the environmental conditions under which groundwater evolves. Understanding this soil-water interaction is therefore essential for pollution control, aquifer protection, and public health planning. Appello and Postman 2005. Water itself serves as the universal solvent. In doing so, becomes a moving archive of geological information. As groundwater migrates through pore spaces, fractured and weather zones, it dissolves minerals, exchanges ions, and records the chemical identity of the rocks and soil through which it has traveled. The sedimentary terrain, high porosity and permeability favor large groundwater storage, whereas in the crystalline basement terrain, fractures and weather saprolite become the principal reservoirs. At this landscape, valleys, slope, and lowlands further influence recharge, runoff, erosion, and contaminant transfer, producing distinctive hydrochemical fingerprints that can be traced scientifically. It is this rock and soil fingerprints that allow us to interpret groundwater origin, quality, vulnerability, and sustainability, making them central to water governance in a country increasingly challenged by water scarcity, contamination, and environmental inequality. Press and Silver 2020. An odyssey is defined as an extended journey marked by diverse activities and adventures that culminate in profound discovery and a deeper understanding of one subject. Cambridge 2025. Within the environmental sciences, this concept serves as a powerful metaphor for the movement of water through complex geological and soil landscapes. As water migrates through this terrain, it functions as a traveler collecting information, inheriting distinct chemical and physical fingerprints that reveal critical insight into the Earth's subterranean structure and ecological balance. I encapsulate my over 3 decades of research as a professional odyssey dedicated to the exploration and protection of groundwater, the invisible lifeline beneath our feet. This journey transcends mere academic study. It represents a transformative quest to uncover hidden reservoirs and understand the dual nature of water as a both life-sustaining nutrient source and a potential geogenic hazard. The Odyssey reflects a lifelong commitment to listen to the Earth's records, not those found in books, but those preserved in the fracture of rocks and the layers of soil. Contribution to knowledge. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contribution to knowledge are summarized in the following areas. 1. Groundwater exploration, geophysical survey, and borehole drilling. 2. Groundwater hydrogeochemistry. 3. Groundwater contaminant. 4. Groundwater nutrients. And 5. Groundwater management. Groundwater exploration. Water is becoming so scarce because surface water are polluted and wells are drying up. The solution is to search for groundwater, the hidden treasure beneath our head. This can be achieved through groundwater exploration. Groundwater exploration is a systemic process of identification, mapping, and assessing underground water resources for sustainable use. It employs multi-stage approach ranging from survey geological studies, remote sensing, to advanced geophysical techniques like electrical resistivity method, and finally, borehole drilling. Our research team used both profiling and VS in all our studies. This method involved determination of differences in electrical resistivity properties of the different rock types, both in the crystalline rocks and sedimentary terrain, as shown in figure 1A and B. In our research, we were able to establish the pattern of crystalline rock terrains and sedimentary rocks. This also shows that basement data exhibits mostly H and A curve types, along with their combination like KH, HA, AK, while sedimentary and coastal area exhibit mixed layer HK, QH, AK, and KH curve types. Besides, we were able to use geophysical techniques to establish 6 classes of overburden, as shown in Table 1, in part of Ogun State, which could guide the hand-dug well diggers and borehole drillers. The table 1 shows the ranges of overburden across Ogun State. Well digging and borehole drilling. 2 methods of making the visible groundwater visible are available for human consumption is either by hand-dug wells, well digging and borehole drilling. Our research team discovered that both borehole drilling activities in Ogun State and Nigeria at large between 1982 and 2012 were largely dominated by cable drilling techniques in areas characterized by shadowed and loose overburden, figure 2A to E. During this period, hydraulic rigs were commonly used for drilling in sedimentary terrain, while hydraulic rigs fitted with compressor were deployed in basement complex terrain where fractured groundwater reservoirs were relatively shallow, typically occurring at depth of up to 20. During this period, the hydraulics were commonly used for drilling in sedimentary terrain, while hydraulic rigs were also, fitted with compressors were deployed to sedimentary basement complex terrain where fractured groundwaters were relatively shallow. These are the types of drilling rigs that we have. We have the hydra rig in the figure 2C. We have the down the hole rig in figure 2D and the mounted rigs in figure 2E. Our major breakthrough in the borehole drilling activities were in areas within the basement complex that have been designated as difficult or critical terrain where water could not be found. In Abeokuta, such terrains include Dipede Estate in Odikoko, Onikolobo, Christian University, Egoya, that's the Colonial Governor's Office in Abeokuta, now used as Ogwama. Other areas of success include Modeka School in Modakeke and the CAC School in Okegbo, all in both Osho and Ondo State. What we did in this area was to search for deeply seated fractures between 120 to 200 meter using combined profiling and VES in Table 2. However, with the advent of more modern drilling technology from around 2013, borehole drilling activities in Ogun State and other parts of southwestern Nigeria increasingly rely on the India rotary rigs with inbuilt compressor. These rigs are capable of penetrating much deeper, over 200 meters, into the subsurface rocks. The Table 2 shows all the different activities borehole activities that we have carried out in southwestern Nigeria. Groundwater hydrochemistry. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my second area of contribution to knowledge is groundwater hydrochemistry, which is the study of the chemical composition of groundwater and its interaction with rocks, minerals, and human activity. It provides crucial insight into water quality, contamination risk, and the natural processes that shape groundwater chemistry. My research has also focused on unveiling groundwater composition and geochemical processes controlling the groundwater. Groundwater composition. Groundwater studies conducted in selected parts of Nigeria revealed that calcium and sodium concentration largely fall within the World Health Organization guidelines, whereas potassium levels are consistently lower than permissible limits. A much more pressing concern is the widespread elevation of magnesium, which, with concentration exceeding the WHO standard of 20 milligram per liter in many states, including Ogun, Ondo, Lagos, Osun, Edo. That's Table 3A. This high level of magnesium and calcium will result in water hardness, mineral buildup, that is scaling in pipes, and reduced soap efficiency. It may be safe to drink and potentially against cardiovascular diseases, but its extreme level can cause laxative effect in human, degradation of soil structure, and reduce crop yields. These are the table of cations in the study areas. Anions analysis, table 3B, shows bicarbonate as the dominant ion across all sample locations. Bicarbonate concentration are variable but universally dominant, reinforcing the conclusion that rock-water interaction and silicate weathering are the primary geogenic processes controlling the ion chemistry. Solvate generally fall within WHO standard of 250 mg per liter. Though exceedances were observed in Bayelsa and River states. These are the table of the anions in the study areas. Chloride concentration remains very low in all locations, far below the WHO standard of 250 mg per liter, indicating minimal influences from salinity or anthropogenic source, such as sewage and seawater intrusion. The implication of high value of bicarbonate in groundwater samples in all locations and sulfate in Bayelsa and rivers may indicate significant geological, environmental, and anthropogenic pollution, thereby resulting in deteriorating water quality, health risk, and infrastructure damage. Geochemical processes. Geochemical processes in groundwater are natural chemical interactions, that is, primary rock weathering, dissolution, ion exchange, redox reaction, evapotranspiration, and mixing, that dictates water quality and composition as it moves through the aquifer. These processes are driven by residence time, aquifer lithology, and temperature, leading to release of common solutes like calcium, sodium, and bicarbonate. Therefore, groundwater hydrogeochemistry focuses on the chemical properties of groundwater to understand its journey underground by examining dissolved ions such as calcium, magnesium, and bicarbonate, as well as indicators like pH and total dissolved solids, which helps to trace water flow, estimate groundwater age, and detect potential contamination source. In order to confirm the geogenic processes in our study area, different geochemical plots were generated. This includes Piper, Durov, Gibbs, that can be found in figure 3A to G. The Piper and the Chandra, they talk about, and they indicated the differences in the water types. The Durov and Gibbs, they also talk about, or they indicate the rock-water interactions. While the Schuller diagram indicates the ionic dominance in the water from the study area, and the Gilead diagram indicates origin of groundwater samples. While the hydrochemical fascist evolution revealed the distinct groundwater surveys across different geological locations. Our research makes use of these plots in order to unravel the journey of groundwater in different aquifers in Nigeria. The result of analysis of groundwater samples from basement complex geological terrain across Nigeria shows that calcium, magnesium, and bicarbonate water types predominate, suggesting that silicate weathering, heterogeneous cation composition, diverse rock-water interaction, and shallow groundwater circulations in crystalline rocks are the key influences. The result also indicated that local geology strongly control the hydrochemical fingerprint, according to Gbadebo et al. 2025. In the sedimentary area, however, calcium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate water types predominate, while in the coastal area, sodium chloride predominates. This suggested regional groundwater flow, which allow extensive water rock interaction, marine influence, the sodium of evaporite, cation exchange, and anthropogenic contamination. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my third area of contribution to knowledge is groundwater contaminant. Just as can be seen in these two glass cups, one is clean and the other one appear dirty. But no matter what, both of them contains contaminant. Although groundwater is naturally seeded by layers of soil and rock, it is not completely immune to contamination. Both natural geochemical processes and human activities can introduce substances that can gradually find their way into the aquifer. These pollutants, ranging from inorganic and organic chemicals to microorganisms, can degrade water quality and pose risk to human health, agriculture, and the surrounding ecosystem. The following contaminants evaluated in my studies of groundwater analysis are discussed. There are 7 of them. First one is metal contaminants. My research team and I, in Gbadebo et al. 2025, evaluated toxic metals, arsenic, lead, cobalt, and silver in groundwater from selected communities of Edo, Cross River State, and the associated carcinogenic and non-carcinogenic health risk for infants, children, teenagers, and adults through oral and dermal exposure routes. The result indicated the elevated concentration of lead, cadmium, and iron, which exceeded the regulatory threshold of WHO, SUN, and NESRA. The result of water quality index WQI revealed and classified the water in the study area as 13 of them. Of this water as source as good, 55 as poor, 31 as very poor, and 14 unsuitable. The whole analysis of 130 groundwater samples were found to pose potential risk HI greater than 1, which exceed the usurper threshold cancer risk of 1 times 10 to power minus 4. The infants were found to be most vulnerable of the groups. There is therefore need for continuous monitoring, effective water treatment, and stricter environmental regulation. The results of the expanded scope of our research on toxic metal in the entire southwestern states, 2 states in southeast, and the FCT can be found in my inaugural lecture booklet. Nitrate and fluoride contaminants in groundwater. Gbadebo et al. In 2010 assessed the vulnerability of nitrate in 2 distinct geological terrains, basement and sedimentary terrain of southwestern Nigeria, and observed the following. Values of nitrate range from 14.9 to 44.3 milligram per liter in the groundwater samples in sedimentary areas of Adewole, while values range from 0.5 to 10.1 milligram per liter in the groundwater sample from the basement complexes. Similarly, my research work in Gbadebo 2012 was on groundwater fluoride and dental fluorosis in southwestern Nigeria. The result revealed that values of fluoride in groundwater sample from basement complex of Adewole range from 0.65 to 1.2 milligram per liter, which was lower than the values of groundwater sample from Adewole peri-urban, which range from 1.3 to 1.45 milligram per liter. Groundwater sample from Lagos metropolitan range from 0.15 to 2.2 milligram per liter, all of which were higher than the recommended value of 0.6 milligram per liter. As a follow-up to the above, my research students from FUNAB and Nigeria Maritime University, Okrekoko, and I in Gbadebo et al. 2026 extended our research on nitrate and fluorides in groundwater. In all, a total of 623 groundwater samples were analyzed, as shown in Table 4. In the health implication of to the consumers, adult, teenagers, children, and infants across the 10 states of Nigeria, that's Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Delta, and FCT, were also assessed. The table here shows the concentration of nitrate and fluoride in those areas. The result shows that nitrate values were generally within the safe limit of 2.5 to 13.3 microgram per liter, except in Delta State community of Kurute, Kunokunuma, and Okrekoko, where nitrate values exceeded 50 milligram per liter, indicating possible contamination from anthropogenic activities. The value of fluoride range from 1.2 to 8.4 milligram per liter, with the majority of the sample exceeding the national and international drinking water guidelines of 1.5 milligram per liter. Human health risk assessment indicated oral ingestion as the primary exposure route pathway, while dermal route is negligible. The hazard coefficient for nitrate was negligible in all the communities except for Kurute, Kunokunuma, and Okrekoko, where the hazard coefficient for fluoride is greater than 1. The implication is that there is overall risk of infant methemoglobinemia in nitrate hotspot area and possibility of delta fluorosis across the consumer group in fluoride hotspot area, as shown in figure 4A and figure 4B. The hallmark of this study was in the calculation of cancer risk for nitrate, which had never been done before in Nigeria. The result is shown in Table 5. That's the Table 5, the cancer risk. Radionuclides and radon. My primary research work on radionuclide fingerprints in rocks and soil, which played the host to the groundwater, started with the work of Gbadebo and Amos, 2010. This work assessed radionuclide pollutants in bedrocks and overlying soil around the Adewole cement factory. The result indicated average specific activity values of for limestone, topsoil, and subsoil, with the values higher in limestone than the soil. My research work in Okedeye et al. 2012 investigated radioactivity level in bedrock and soil across 20 quarry sites within the basement complex terrain of Ogun State and confirmed that absorbed dose rate range of 2.3 to 90.3 ngV per hour for bedrock and 2.3 and 90.4 for soil. These findings suggested that radioactivity in the soil is largely derived from the radioactive components of the underlying rock, highlighting the potential hydrological risk associated with prolonged exposure to natural ionization radiation. The result concluded a geogenic source of the radionuclide with anthropogenic input in the area. The result also revealed strong positive correlation, R2 is equal to 0.8, between radionuclide in soil and and the underlying bedrock. In collaboration with Rabiu et al. 2017, I assessed the radiation dose arising from consumption of water, well water in different areas of Abeokuta by measuring concentration of radon-222 using solid-state nuclear track detector. The obtained radon concentration range from 3.1 to 90.8 kilobecquerel per meter cube. The study inferred uranium-containing granite at the source of radon in the groundwater from this study. The statistical analysis of the radon concentration showed that 94% of the well studied had radon concentration above USEPA maximum contaminant level of 11.1 kilobecquerel per meter, while none of the groundwater samples had up to 1,000 kilobecquerel per meter cube, which implies that remediation action is required as recommended by EU. Both the inhaled and ingested water containing radon in the study reservoir are capable of causing stomach and lung cancer in adults and leukemia in children. Other researchers and I, Inaugural et al. 2016, evaluated rare earth elements, RAE contaminants, in groundwater from Lagos State coastal area and Ogun State basement complex terrain. We observed that groundwater shows significant reduction of RAE with orders of magnitude between higher than typical global concentration. Lagos groundwater showed higher total RAE of 16.5 microgram per liter than Ogun groundwater with mean RAE value of 22.6 microgram per liter, as shown in table 6. The borehole shows greater value of RAE than hand-dug wells. In Lagos, RAE correlated positively with iron, thereby suggesting redox-driven release from iron oxide, and also RAE positively correlated with cerium anomaly, thereby indicating coastal and anthropogenic influence. In Ogun State, groundwater RAE's fingerprints reflect natural rock weathering and increasing quarry activities. These are the tables of rare earth elements in groundwater. This study highlights rare earth elements as emerging contaminants with potential chronic exposure risk. The source also indicated that groundwater is not only a source of drinking water in Nigeria, but also is a silent reservoir of geochemical anomalies capable of reshaping public health and resource development. Its long exposure can result in oxidative stress, renal damage, and increase IQ in children, decrease in IQ in children. Hydrocarbon pollutants in groundwater. In my research work with Gbadebo and Ishola, Gbadebo et al. 2024, we carry out environmental risk assessment of subsurface corrosivity severity as evidence of pollution level of petrol station within Abeokuta metropolitan using geophysical techniques. The result shows that the subsurface structure within which the petrol tanks were buried were highly corrosive. It also observed that almost all the tanks were buried within the depth of 4 to 5 meters. About 60% of the studied petrol stations range from corrosive to extremely corrosive. That is an indication of groundwater pollution due to petroleum leakage from the buried tank, as shown in figure 5. I was also commissioned by the Ministry of Environment in 2025 to carry out geochemical evaluation of groundwater in the vicinity of selected petrol station in Abeokuta. The result revealed significant hydrocarbon pollution in the analyzed groundwater samples with total hydrocarbon content range between 223.5 and 895.0 milligram per liter. Total hardness values range between 262.7 and 590.6 mg per liter, which made the water to be classified as hard to very hard. The implication is that the groundwater in the study areas is largely unsuitable for drinking purpose. Impact of leachate from dump site to groundwater. Together with two of my postgraduate students, we investigated the effect of leachate plume migration from the dump sites in Adewole, Gbadebo State and Saje, Ogun State on the surrounding groundwater, as shown in figure 6A and B. The result indicated that acidic nature of the leachate with pH 5.3 and groundwater 6.5, and similarities in the high concentration of the other parameters like TDS, lead, cadmium, nickel, etc., both in the leachate and groundwater samples, which were above standard values. This implies that the leachate migrated from the dump site into groundwater and introduced toxic matter, organic matter, and the pathogens, thereby rendering the water unsuitable for drinking purpose. Microbial contaminants in groundwater. Microbial contaminants, that is bacteria and protozoan, in groundwater constitute invisible army, silent, mobile, and capable of unleashing devastating public health crisis. Unlike chemical exposures that takes years to manifest, bacterial pathogens often rapidly cause acute gastrointestinal infection, cholera outbreaks, and in severe cases, it can cause life-threatening conditions. My research in this area, coined geomicrobiology, has spanned close to 8 years, covering southwestern states and the FCT. More than 500 groundwater samples have been analyzed. The result in Gbadebo et al. 2025 indicated that almost all the samples from the Andor West and borehole water samples have varying degree of bacteria load, ranging from 1.0 times 10 to power 1 and 4.0 times 10 to power 2, which is against the stipulated standard of WHO recommendation of free coliform bacteria in 100 ml. In all the analyzed groundwater samples from the Andor West and borehole, types of bacterial pathogens that were frequently encountered are Heterobacter aerogensis, Klebsiella, pseudomonas. Then we have Proteus, Vulgaris, Salmonella, Typhi, and for the protozoan pathogens, the protozoan pathogens that were frequently encountered in groundwater are Entomeba histolytica, Balantidium coli, and then we have the Clostridium species, as shown in figure 7A and 7B. These pathogens enter into the aquifer via 40 septic tanks run off from dump site, graveyard, farmyard, and the feety environment. These species and their uniformity collectively signal fecal contamination, poor sanitary barriers, and high infection risk. The stagnant nature of Andor West and boreholes and their high nutrient loads provide breeding grounds for these opportunistic pathogens. The health impact of these pathogens include gastrointestinal diseases like diarrhea, cholera, and hepatitis. If urgent intervention in monitoring, treatment and safe water provision are not embarked upon, this biological dimension of the death time bomb can trigger the occurring waves of waterborne diseases across Nigeria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my fourth contribution to knowledge is in the area of groundwater nutrients. My research with others in Adewole et al. 2023 on groundwater and the control of groundwater to dietary requirement of essential metals in Lagos and Ogun State added another dimension by examining groundwater not simply as a safe and unsafe resource, but as a dietary contributor. In this study, 170 groundwater samples were analyzed for 13 nutritional elements, including sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, manganese, selenium, and iodine, using ICP-MS. From the data generated, chronic daily intake CDI and percentage tolerable intake reference values (TIRFs) for adult children and infants were calculated and is shown in table 7. That's the table showing that. The results show that CDI values were higher in children than infants, thereby revealing their greater vulnerability. Generally, iron and zinc were dominant nutrient contributors in the analyzed groundwater sample. Besides, water is food. Non-consumption or inadequate consumption of it can lead to dehydration, with the symptoms ranging from thirst, fatigue, dizziness, dark urine, convulsion, and kidney failure. In Lagos State groundwater, the nutritional elemental dominance follow the order of chromium greater than manganese, greater than iron, greater than zinc, greater than copper. But in Ogun State groundwater, the order is iron greater than manganese, greater than zinc, greater than copper, greater than chromium. The iron content of Ogun State groundwater was very striking, contributing up to 81% of the daily requirement, compared with the only 14% in Lagos groundwater. With iron enrichment offers nutritional opportunity in a population vulnerable to iron deficiency and anemia, it simultaneously raises the spectrum of overexposure and iron-related health risk if not checked. As a follow-up to this work in Gbadebo et al. 2023, my research student and I studied the dietary intake of essential elements in selected states in Nigeria, spanning 4 of the 6 geopolitical zones: Southwest, Southeast, South-South, and North-Central regions. The research findings, which are currently under peer review for journal publication, show that groundwater contributes beneficial to the dietary intake of essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, thereby providing a modest portion for the recommended dietary allowances out there without exceeding upper intake levels. Iodine in the groundwater. In Gbadebo and ODYSSEY 2005, we determined the occurrence, prevalence, and contributing factor to the incidence of goiter in Igbogila, Egua, Sawonjo, and Ibato, Yewa North Local Government of Ogun State Limestone Region, and Lagos State Grass Coastal Area by analyzing for iodine content in environmental samples, including water. The results showed that the drinking water mean iodine value of less than 1 microgram per liter in the 4 communities of Yewa were low compared with the drinking water mean iodine value of 6.1 milligram per liter obtained from Lagos, which is 250 meters to the ocean. The study concluded that both females and adults, that is the less mobile groups, were found to be vulnerable to goiter development in the 4 communities, as shown in figure 8. Groundwater management. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, my odyssey in groundwater cannot be complete without addressing the subject of groundwater management and sustainability. Groundwater needs to be properly managed because it remains the lifeblood of household, agriculture, and industry across Nigeria. Besides, the infrastructure that delivers this groundwater to our communities must be properly managed in order to make the hand-dug wells and boreholes sustainable, just as shown in figure 9. Gbadebo and Akeomi 2010 carry out gender issues in management and use of groundwater resources in Abeokuta Petroleum as a case study. The results show that the environmental condition of which most of the outdoor wells and bores were, they were in very deplorable conditions, such as fertile environment, exposure of the well to the atmosphere, use of inappropriate cover leads, nearness to septic tanks, open dump sites, graveyard, etc., as shown in the previous figure 9. The study also observed that there was gender inequality in the supply and maintenance of water, our groundwater resources, with 89% of female group shouldering the maintenance responsibility compared with the 11% of male counterparts. Reviving the ailing boreholes. Over the years, my work has also translated science into service by ensuring that communities do not simply wait for new boreholes to be drilled, but instead benefit from the rehabilitation of abandoned existing infrastructure, that's borehole, at a fraction of the cost of constructing new ones. Figure 10. In Ogun State, for instance, we have documented cases where boreholes that have been abandoned for years were restored to functionality through systemic flushing, compressor cleaning, submersible pump recovery, and repair of electrical panels. That's been found in 2022. Contribution to development. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contribution to human capacity development and the value added addition to geoscientific knowledge are defined by an academic career that began at Olabisi Onabanjo University, OOU, in 1995. evolving significantly after joining Federal University of Agriculture in 1999. And this includes: 1, training and supervision. Training of academic students remains a fundamental pillar of my professional legacy. I have taught courses in environmental management and sciences and geology across 10 Nigerian universities in various capacities as regular, visiting, sabbatical appointment. I have successfully supervised and graduated PhD students, 11 as major, 10 as co-supervisor, 3 ongoing. My first doctoral student, now Professor Adewole, is the provost of postgraduate students at the Lagos State University of Education. I think he should be here in this auditorium. I have also supervised 40 MSc students and more than 200 undergraduates. This body of alumni represents my most enduring contribution as they continue to extend knowledge frontiers and provide solutions to Nigerian environmental and geological challenges. External examiner. My service as external examiner for national and international institutions include UNILAG, Crawford, Ekiti State University, UNIBEN at undergraduate level. And at postgraduate level, I've examined students from Gbadebo University, Michael Okpara, University of Agriculture, UNILAG, UNN, UI, UNIBEN, OAU. And I've also examined students from the University of Malawi and University of Johannesburg in South Africa. Team lead. Furthermore, my commitment to institutional excellence is evidenced by my role as a team lead for accreditation exercise under the NUC, under the National University Commission NUC in Nigeria, and also the National Council for Higher Education in Namibia, ensuring the geoscientific education maintain a rigorous and global competitiveness standard. Leadership role as a visionary and pioneer of the new Department of Geology in FUNAB, in order to enhance relevance and inclusivity, I introduced 6 new courses connecting geology to societal needs, and this includes medical geology, urban geology, geotourism, geoarchaeology, and agrogeology. This innovation helped FUNAB geology program to achieve a ranking of 5th position in 2025 in courses content among the Nigerian universities, while making the field more gender-friendly and accessible. Beyond teaching and research, I have also provided leadership through various administrative roles in both academic and community setting. I have served twice as head of the Department of Environmental Management and Toxicology, and I was also head of Department of Geology here in FUNAB. Service to government and other institutions. My contribution towards applied geoscientific expertise to public services include my role as a member of Transition Committee for Ondo State Government, Ondo State Roadmap in 2003, where we provided strategic direction for the state's development trajectory. My expertise has also been utilized as an expert advisor to the Ondo State Government in groundwater abstraction and as a consultant geologist to Crescent University, Abeokuta, ensuring that institutional water and environmental strategies are grounded in rigorous geoscientific data. Conclusion. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this Odyssey into the hidden world beneath our feet has revealed a proven truth. Rock and soil leave indelible fingerprints of water, and water in turn leave its mark on human health, livelihood, and national development. From the crystalline aquifer of the basement complex to the sediment basin of the Niger Delta, my work has shown that groundwater is a gift. When wisely managed, groundwater sustains communities, nurtures agriculture, powers industry, and secure livelihood. However, when neglected, it becomes a silent carrier of disease, a repository of toxic ion, and a trigger of what I have termed the death time bomb. Over extraction, industrial effluent, poor borehole maintenance, and climate variability deepen this crisis. The fingerprints of geology and human negligence are written into every drop of unsafe water consumed by vulnerable communities. Yet, this journey has also revealed hope. Through rehabilitation of abandoned boreholes, solar-powered water system, sustainable groundwater management practices, and the training of new generation of hydrogeology, we have shown that solutions are within reach. The time has come to read these fingerprints carefully and act with urgency before these subtle signs become irreversible scars. Recommendation: protecting groundwater and ensuring its long-term safety requires the collective effort of government agencies, researchers, policymakers, and the local communities. In the light of these issues highlighted in this lecture, a number of practical recommendations are proposed to improve groundwater quality management, strengthen water security, and promote environmental protection. These recommendations also emphasize the need to link scientific research more closely with policy action and community participation in safeguarding groundwater resources. Recommendation 1, groundwater quality certification. Geophysical survey should be carried out before well or borehole construction. No borehole should be commissioned for domestic use without certificate of fitness based on comprehensive physicochemical and microbial analysis. 2, strengthen rural water security. Investment in deeper solar-powered and community-managed boreholes must be scaled up, especially in rural areas where unsafe wells and streams remain the main water sources. 3, pollution control and enforcement. Industry must be compelled to treat effluents before discharge. Regulators should intensify compliance monitoring, while violators should face steep penalties that can fund local water remediation. 4, integrated groundwater monitoring network. A national groundwater observatory should be established, combining meteorological, hydrological, and geochemical data to detect risk early and guide water governance. 5, rare earth element resource extraction development. Considering the high concentration of rare earth elements found in Lagos and Ogun State, the government should set up an agency tasked with the responsibility of sustainably exploiting these resources so Nigeria can have a stake in the international rare earth element trade market like China. 6, community awareness and stewardship. Public enlightenment campaign must teach citizens that groundwater is not finite and that rocks and soil can transfer both life-giving minerals and deadly toxins into the water. And 7, research and policy synergy. University must deepen interdisciplinary research on hydrogeology, climate change, and pollution forensic, while policymakers must ensure that decisions are grounded in science rather than expediency. Acknowledgement. My foremost gratitude goes to Almighty God, whose abiding grace and unfailing guidance have sustained me throughout this journey. His faithfulness has been my anchor, His wisdom my compound, and His mercy the foundation upon which this achievement stands. I am also very grateful to the current and the 7th substantial Vice Chancellor, Professor Olusola Babatunde Kehinde, for giving me this opportunity to present this 112th inaugural lecture. My appreciation also goes to the principal officers in the university, Professor O.M.O. Idou, DVC Academy, Professor O.U. Dairo, DVC Development, Dr. Titus Adeniyi, the registrar, Mr. Olukayode Oshinoga, the bossa, and Professor Kehinde Owolabi, the librarian. My parents, late Pa Simeon Gbadebo and the late Mama Deborah Gbadebo, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to them for their unconditional love, patience, nurturing gift, good role model, and discipline with love, selflessness, resilience, and care. And to my parent-in-law, I am grateful to my late parent-in-law, Mr. Adefishan Fashogbon, and late Mr. Adefishan Fashogbon and late Mrs. Amake Fashogbon, and the entire Akimodadun family. Past Vice Chancellors, I'm grateful to the past Vice Chancellor, starting from Professor Nirudi Adedipe, the pioneer staff, Professor Okoje, who employed me into FUNAP, Professor Ado and Professor Adamsi, during which fabulous university were echoed. Professor Olaiya Balogun, from whom I learned valuable lessons on administrative efficiency and responsiveness as HOD in EMT. Professor Olusola Bandele Oyewole, under who I had my promotion to reader and professor, Professor Ololade Nikoime for writing letter of support for many grant applications for me, and Professor F.K. Sadako, under whose administration geology department was established. Thank you. My siblings, I sincerely appreciate my siblings. Deaconess Adekeye Akitola, who is also here with us, who is the mother to every one of us, Mrs. Owadepo Adelani, late Miss Ajike Afolayan, late Mrs. Morisade Olajide, and my other paternal siblings, Messrs. Adebisi Gbadebo, Ifeolu Gbadebo, and Tokwe Gbadebo. My cousins, Messrs. Ola Akitola, Lake Afolayan, Ibrahim Abdullah, and others. Then the Cullen family, I'm very appreciative of the contribution of the Cullen family to my academic career, to my teaching career while I'm here. And presently we have the Dean, Professor Olusegun Ogotoke, the Deputy, that's the Dr. Olusegun Ojelade, the past Deans, and all HODs, all professors, and other Cullen staff, teaching and other staff. I'm grateful to you all. Staff of Geology Department, headed by Professor Sojino. Thank you. Then, staff of EMT Department, headed by Dr. A.M. Taiwo, and every other staff, member of that staff. I'm grateful to you all. Others in the university. My deep gratitude also goes to the Dean of Postgraduate Schools, the Dean of College, other colleges, the directors of institute and center, the HOD of all departments in the university, professors, especially my research collaborators, my teaching staff, my colleagues within the university, non-teaching staff, especially those that have worked together before. My students, my past and present, occupy a special place in my heart. I'm very proud of every one of you here present and those that cannot make it here. Thank you. My teachers in primary school, late Pa Omonjadegbe and others, I appreciate you. Secondary school, Reverend Fabi and others, I appreciate you. University of Port Harcourt, Professor Akokoje, who happened to be my supervisor, and other people, I appreciate you. Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor M.B. Salami, my supervisor, and others, I appreciate you. University of Ibadan, late Professor T.A. Badejoko, and late Professor Akilolu Abimbola, my supervisors, I appreciate you. I appreciate every other lecturer from UI that are here. Then the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Professor Mualem and the Wakashai, I appreciate you for your contribution towards my life in the area of groundwater. My classmates in primary school, we have some of them here, Wole Yedele, Dimeji Adenwade, and others, I appreciate you. Secondary school, we have Oyewole Edward, Tuji Akola, we have Bode Murakiyo, we have so many others here. I appreciate you all. University of Port Harcourt, Isese Okonko, Kalisa, I appreciate you. Obafemi Awolowo University, Team Akinagbe, Matiawo Adewambe, I appreciate you. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem, we have them, Griffin, James, and others, I appreciate you. International organization, the MASHAF, that gave me opportunity for advanced training in groundwater studies and water resource management, which has formed the basis of my specialization in hydrogeology, I appreciate you. UKR, I thank you for giving me the opportunity of being a reviewer for Newton and groundwater funds to 2018 to date. And Uche, thank you for choosing me to serve as the foreign chairperson in the accreditation of geology program at University of Namibia. Other guests, guests from other universities, numerous to mention, they are all here, and many of them are on their way. I also express my sincere appreciation to colleagues, professors, staff, and members of other universities, UI, OAU, UNILAG, OOU, LAUTECH, QUAB, Comfort, for their support and presence. My research, my co-researchers, I think this is a very good way to mention Professor T. Arolo, who has always been a big uncle, a father. He has always been somebody guiding me since I've been here. Thank you. And others that are research co-over, I thank you all. Publication Ceremonial Committee, headed by Mrs. Abodule and members, and Professor Temitope Ajadi, I thank you. Olasu Community, I thank you. Church and community members, special appreciation go to my church leaders, Pastor and Mrs. St. John's, and their elders, and every other member of that church for their prayer, encouragement, spiritual support, particularly during the challenging years of my PhD program. To my royal, to my king, His Royal Majesty. My profound gratitude goes to His Royal Majesty Oba Barrister Akitoye Felix Adeoye, the Are Gbadebo IV and the Oloke of Okego Kingdom, who is seated nearby. Thank you, sir. Your honors for coming. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. My immediate family, to my beloved child, Oluwajumilo Oluwadara Ifeadepo Gbadebo. You are the joy and evidence of our union. Your presence in our life has been a constant source of inspiration, happiness, and motivation. Thank you, even though she's not here, but she's here with us in spirit. To my wife, finally, my appreciation goes to my wife, to my beloved wife, Mrs. Adewole Gbadebo, my partner in life and destiny. You willingly made many sacrifices throughout this journey, serving at different times as my supporter, confidant, cook, and even driver. From when I began my lecturing career in 1995, I moved across several universities and eventually in FUNAB. Your unwavering support made this journey possible. I remain eternally grateful to you. Thank you all for listening. I wish you journey mercies to your various destinations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry, sir.
Please, you can have your seat. Thank you very much. Kindly have your seat. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the university, I want to thank the 112th inaugural lecturer, Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo. Thank you so much, sir. And the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, presents this award of honor to you, Professor Adewole Michael Gbadebo, of the Department of Geology, College of Environmental Resources Management, as the 112th inaugural lecturer of the university, dated this day, Wednesday, 8th April, 2026. Congratulations for all you've done. Thank you very much. With the assistance of the groundwaters in FUNAB, we were able to produce all this, and we are presenting them to you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. You may have yours. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually coming to the end of the 112th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. On behalf of the university, I want to thank each and every one of us for coming and for your listening attention. But before we go, I would like to specially thank and appreciate some principal officers of this university, those whom you can call senior citizens, the elder statesmen that came to grace this occasion. Distinguished guests, I want to specially recognize the first Deputy Vice Chancellor Development of FUNAB, Professor Omolayo Ariyo, is here this afternoon. Popularly known as OJ. You know the FUNAB? We welcome OJ. Thank you, Prof, for joining us. And then, of course, we also specially welcome also a distinguished former Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Tony Adewole. You are welcome, sir. Thank you very much. It's nice having you around. We crave your presence again and again and again. Thank you very much. We also welcome Professor Ololade Enikumehin, former acting Vice Chancellor of the university. Thank you very much. And of course, in our midst this afternoon also, we recognize specially the University Librarian of Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Abeokuta, Dr. Idayat Agbola. Dr. Agbola, you are welcome. And of course, another elder statesman, Professor Sam Otubusi. Thank you, Oga. You are welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. And I also specially welcome, I think, our former, I must recognize her, the former coach, the immediate past chairperson of the University Publications Committee, Professor Mrs. Bodunde. Professor Mrs. Bodunde. You are welcome. Thank you, ma. And of course, my employer too. I must mention my employer, Professor Fola Kenshaw, my employer. You are welcome. Distinguished members of the University Senate, members of the Gbadebo family and the Fashogmo family, we welcome you. We thank you so much. His Royal Majesty, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We appreciate you. The Lord will take you back home safely. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a nice time knowing about boreholes and probably how to maintain and sustain the ones you have in your compounds. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for the Vice Chancellor, please. Thank you. May we all be seated so that we can listen attentively to the announcement. We have come to the end of the 112th inaugural lecture. Announcements, please. Please, let's listen carefully and attentively to this announcement. Academic staff are to file out through the exit A by my right-hand side. Non-teaching staff are to file out by the exit B by my left-hand side. Guests of the inaugural lecturer are to step out of this hallowed hall after the procession and proceed down the stairs to the first left onto the conference room B, just immediately after the stairs. Students, greatest Funabites. Please, you should all remain in the gallery for your entertainment while the procession files out in reverse order. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may we all rise for the anthems, please. The Funab anthem followed by the national pledge. national pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity, and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. Amen. Please, let's wait for the procession on the top table to exit the hallowed hall first of all, before all of us now follow suit. As per the announcement, please, the academic staff should file out through the exit A by my right-hand side. Non-teaching staff should file out through the exit B by my left-hand side. Guests of the inaugural lecturer should follow the procession and immediately proceed to the conference room B by their left-hand side. I would like to recognize the presence of the Dean of the College of Engineering of our great university, Professor Adewole Gbadebo. He's also on the procession. He was also on the procession. We appreciate you, sir. We appreciate every one of us that have come from far and near, most especially the Oluoke of Okeigbo Kingdom, His Royal Majesty, Ọba Akintoye Felix Adeoye, Ààrẹ Ikúgbà Igbe the fourth. The Ọba Tẹ́lẹ̀ of Ọlọ́run Tẹ́lẹ̀ Okoigbe